first I will go with the Israeli-Palestine issues. Let's begin with the Israel-Palestine issue. Now, what is the issue behind? When did all this started, and what was the time period? So we shall go by step in this process. Okay, so if you see, what happened was that right in the beginning of the October, we have seen these conflicts between Israel and Palestine, though it was there in past also. But the point is that it became worse during the time of, or you can say, just in the beginning of the October. So before I start with what is happening, and since you people are covering the news, so you must be knowing what is happening each and every day. So first, let's see what is the history behind the conflict. Now what happened was that how come this tension began to take place. So what was the origin of this tension? What was what was the issue behind? So what happened was that back in 19th and 20th centuries, what happened was that Jewish migration to Palestine increased. So there were a number of Jewish who were, moving on to Palestine area. So this Jewish migration to Palestine increased, and what happened was that because of this migration to Palestine, this led to tensions. Why? Now, if you see that this community will keep on migrating into this region, and this region is having its own community, so what is going to happen? The tension between these two communities will increase. Why? Because the one are migrating and other one are already staying there. So there is the issue behind Jews and Arabs. Fine. And now this tension was not getting lesser in any way. In fact, what happened was that by the time in 1917, when we were having this World War I, so during this World War I, the British government did what? British government issued the Balfour Declaration. And what is this declaration about? So when British government issued this Balfour Declaration was what? Uh, this was a kind of support, or you can say a consent by the British government for what? Establishment of a national home for Jewish people. So establishment of national home for Jewish people. Why? Because here you see Jewish were migrating to the Palestinian areas, and where there are already Arab population. So under Balfour Declaration, the British government said they have given the entire support for the establishment of national home for Jewish people in the areas of Palestine. Fine. And then what happened? It was after the World War II. That means probably the time of 1947, after World War II. So during this time we had UN. So UN proposed what? A plan. And what was that plan about? That would divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. So what was the plan of UN? To divide the Palestine area into two separate states. And what were those? one to be your Jewish state and another one to be your Arab states. And when this when this separation of state was granted or was proposed by UN, so what happened was that UN said that Jerusalem, now that city plays a very important role, so Jerusalem would be an international city. Jerusalem would be an international city. Now what happened was that this plan of UN, this plan was accepted by the Jewish leaders. Who accepted this plan? This plan was accepted by the Jewish, or you can say Jews. However, this plan was rejected by the Arab leaders. Now, because of this, what is going to happen? Since there is discontentment between the two, now there will be what? Violence. And violence between who? The Jews and the Arabs. Next, what happened was that in 1948, when Israel declared its independence, 1948. Just a minute. Just hold on for a second. It has hanged. Okay. So 1948, Israel declared its independence. And when Israel declared its independence, what happened was that when Israel declared its independence, it led to war. And this was a war with the neighboring Arab states. And as soon as there was declaration of war, what was going to happen? This conflict resulted in displacement of hundreds of Palestinians. So now, when there was this war, or you can say conflict, and this led to what? Displacement of Palestinians. And this led to, and from here onwards you will find that there is an absolute area which has led to the foundation of tensions. So from here onwards the tensions started rooting between the people, and Israel Palestine issues began very severely. Arab states were also not happy with it. So here onwards the tensions began to occur. Okay, now from here onwards, we can ask that how come Hamas came into being, because when Hamas was there, how all this issue started happening. So, firstly, it was the Israel and Hamas issue. So, this Israel and Hamas issue began somewhere close to 1980s. and like how come this came into being. So Hamas is an Islamist organization, and what happened was when Hamas, this Islamist organization, emerged during this period. So what happened was that this organization was paving the path for what. This organization was paving the path of resistance, and resistance against who? The Israelis. So Israelis, and what was happening against the Fatah also, and Fatah was what? The political sanction of the Palestinians. So Palestinian. Fine. Now, Israel initially, what happened was that they were trying to tolerate the Hamas. Now, and why? Because they wanted to counterbalance with the Fatah. But this changed as Hamas influence grew in their vision. So, Israel was trying its best. Israel was not trying it to, kind of reach to a solution, but it was because they wanted to, counter Fatah, and Fatah was who? The Palestinian political faction. So it was for their own purpose which they wanted to meet. Just a minute. Okay. So Israel was trying to, counterbalance Fatah, counterbalance Fatah, and how? Through Hamas. Fine. Now the next thing that comes into being is your Oslo Accord. So what is your Oslo Accord? So this Oslo Accord, under this Oslo Accord, there was the establishment of Palestinian Authority that took place. Now, when the Palestinian Authority was taking place here, or you can say the establishment of Palestinian Authority took place. So what happened was that there was a partial Israeli withdrawal, and withdrawal from where? Withdrawal from areas like Western Bank, you can say the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Right? So from here onwards, you see what is going to happen is that Israelis are trying to withdraw, or you can say there's a partial withdrawal from the areas like West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Um, Now, but the peace process was still not achieved. So what was happening? There was a huge violence and frustration that was going on, and because of this violence, there was intifada that was occurred, or you can say second intifada that occurred. Why? Because of this violence. And why violence? Because there was no peace that was established, even though there was partial Israeli withdrawal from the areas like West Bank and Gaza Strip. So now what happened during this period? Hamas intensified its suicide bombing and rocket attacks against Israeli civilians. So during this time, Hamas went on to all the ill practices of suicide bombing, and this all was done against who? The Israeli civilians. Gaza was taken. See, what is happening is, if you see the map, you will have the three areas. That is your West Bank, you will have Gaza Strip, and you will have Golan Heights. Now the point is, how come all these areas were seized? So first start with the Gaza. So in 2016, what happened was, Hamas has won the Palestinian legislative elections. So what happened was that they won this election against who? The Fatah. And let me tell you, Fatah was the secular organization. So if you see, if a terrorist organization is running over the secular organization, what is going to happen? And then back in 2007, what happened was that Hamas forcibly took control over the Gaza Strip. So now Hamas has taken control over the Gaza Strip. So Hamas is having the control over Gaza Strip, while the West Bank was controlled by the Fatah. And from here onwards, what happened was that Israel blocked Gaza. Why? Because of arms smugglings. Right? And from here onwards, what you see is that there has been, multiple counter conflicts, multiple ceasefires that have been happening. And by 2021, what you see here is that the tensions have reached to to a level where Israelis or the Israelis was making policies over Jerusalem. Now, if you remember, I told you that Jerusalem was kept as what? An international city. Here I told you, yes, Jerusalem was kept as an international city while Jewish state and Arab states were formed. This was what UN had proposed. Now, here onwards, what happened was that the tension began because Israel started making policies over Jerusalem and also started, talking about eviction of Palestinians. So this was not going well with the Hamas group, and Hamas have counterattacked. Right now, if we go with what is the modern day conflict or the present day conflict that is going on, so you see there is a conflict that is happening between Israel and Hamas, and what is the issue behind? This is the similar issue that has been carrying on, and what has been carrying on the land issue. That means the land's control, the land's sovereignty, and security. And then what happened was that just back on October 7, Hamas has attacked Israel. And what was the counter position? Israel attacked responded to Gaza. And now, when Israel did so, what happened was that there was a mass casualties that began taking place. Right now, all through the issue, there were certain places that were linked to it. That is Israel-Palestine conflict. One was your Alaska mosque. So, some important places. First was your Alaska mosque. And what is Alaska mosque? Now, this is considered as the holiest and one of the purest structure in Islamic faith by Muslims. So, this is considered as the purest structures by Islamics and by Jews. And this is the site which is considered as the oldest site of Jerusalem. Right. The next thing that was considered as important is your West Bank area. Now, if you see West Bank area, the West Bank area is considered to be a landlocked territory, and in West Asia, it is also containing what a certain section of Dead Sea. So this was captured by Jordan after Arab-Israeli war in 1948. So this was captured by Jordan, but then what happened was Israel took it back. And how come Israel took it back? What the Western Bank area? So Israel took it back in Six-Day War, 1967. Right? And I'll show you the map. So what you will see, the West Bank area is the area which is kind of sandwiched between Israel and Jordan. Israel. Right? So this is your West Bank river. Then you have Gaza Strip. And what is the story behind Gaza Strip? Now this is between the Israel and Egypt. And this Gaza Strip was occupied after 1967 during the Oslo peace process. So in 2005, what happened was that Israel kind of removed all the Jewish settlements from the territory. Fine. The next one was your Golan Heights. So let's know about the Golan Heights. So So Golan Heights is considered as a region of plateau. That is, Israel has captured Golan Heights from Syria. What was the time? It was 1967. Right? Now the bone of contention started happening how? See, in 2017, what happened was that US has officially recognized Jerusalem and Golan Heights as part of Israel. Fine. Now, if you go with the demands, like what is the demand of Israel or what is the demand of Palestine, in order to see, just let the war doesn't go ahead. So, what are the things that Israel is demanding? So, Israel, wants to maintain its Jewish identity. Israel is trying to maintain Jewish identity, and even though they are trying to maintain the Jewish identity, they are expanding their settlements also. And the next thing what Israel is demanding is Israel wants Palestinians. Israel wants the Palestinians to recognize its right to exist and renounce the violence. So Israel wants Palestinians to recognize its right. Now, what else Israel wants? So, Israel wants to keep Jerusalem as its undivided capital. So, Jerusalem shouldn't be divided. Now, the point starts what do Palestine wants? Now, Palestine wants an independent and sovereign state. Fine. And this state is where in the areas of West Bank, Gaza Strip, and the eastern part of Jerusalem. So, East Jerusalem. Right? Other than this, Palestine wants Israelis to end their military occupation and blockade and withdraw from the settlement. So, Palestinian wants what Israelis to withdraw from settlements. Settlements like in the areas of Gaza Strip and all. What else Israel that these Palestinians are wanting? So now Palestinians want that Jerusalem should be their capital. Palestinians are of the opinion that Jerusalem should be its capital. Fine. Now the point is that see whatever is going on between Israel and Palestine. How could you reach to a solution? Like what is the solution? So the solution that was thought to be was one was your two-state solution, and what is the two-state solution? Now the two-state solution is emphasizing on what creation of independent and sovereign Palestinian state alongside Israel. Fine. Now the next thing is that the two-state solution also aims for what the core issues of the conflict. For example, the Jerusalem one, the security one, the refugees one, etc. And this two-state solution has been supported by many leaders in the worldwide. However, what is the issue behind this? Now, the issue behind all this is first is that the trust factor is lacking regarding what the political will. Why? Because there is a high chance that the domestic constituencies might not agree to it. Right? Other than this, what else? Now there is a lot of division and fragmentation, and this is happening between who? The Palestinians. Why? Because they are scattered in the regions of what? The West Bank region, the Gaza Strip, the yeah, between the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and why there is this issue? Because there is a conflict between who? The Fatah and the Hamas. Other than this, what is there? There has been, a lot of interference from the external factors also. And what are those? That means external actors, right? Other than all this, what else? Now there has been what a constant fuel for hatred and resentment between the two sides. Right? Okay, so this was all issue behind the Arab and Israeli conflict, the Israel and the Palestinian issues. I have told you almost all the things right from the historic time. Let's wait and see what else is coming on our way and how this is going to affect, India's economy as well as India's ties with the countries. So let's wait for that. Now let's move on to the next article. The next article is about your nuclear energy that I want to cover. Now, the point is why nuclear energy? See, if you see, India is, the growth of India is expanding and it is increasing very much. Most of the time, it is considered that somewhere or other it is going to surpass even Germany in coming future. So when there is enough of growth in India's economy, now what is most needed is that the economic growth should be triggered by what the energy also. So the demand will of energy will also come significantly on the way. So economic growth triggers your energy demands and energy is going to play a big role. Now, see, what is the nuclear energy? The question comes here. So, the nuclear energy is the energy that is released from the nucleus, and nucleus of what? Nucleus of the atoms. Nucleus of atoms, and from the nucleus of atoms, your energy is. And when energy is released, what is happening is there is a high energy density. Fine. Now, you must have heard about the two processes from where you get this nuclear energy. So it is coming from two parts. One is your fusion reaction. Other one is your right. Now, what is fission? Now, fission is a process where splitting of nucleus of an atom into smaller nuclei. I will say this is your atom, this is your nucleus. What is going to happen is splitting is going to happen. This will be split. Splitting the nucleus of an into two smaller. Right? And how come this splitting happens? The question is this. Just a minute. Okay. So how come the splitting happens? So the splitting happens when the nucleus of the isotope. So this is the nucleus. So this nucleus is this atom is bombarded neutrons. Now, when this is bombarded with neutrons, what is going to happen? This is going to become unstable. And this will lead to what? Splitting into two or fine. And this will also lead to what? Discharge. And whenever there's a fission reaction, so you remember a little bit, then there's a kind of chain reaction that occurs in the fission reaction. So this was about fission. Now what about fusion? Nuclear fusion. So nuclear fusion is what? Combining of two light atoms. So when two atoms are combining, what is going to happen? There will be an atom which will be formed, or you can say this will have a heavy nucleus. Now the thing is that when the reaction of fusion happens, what is happening? See, if I have to differentiate between the fusion and the fission reaction, so fusion is all about what? There are multiple atoms. You can say what is happening. They are combining to form one big atom, and this will be a energized atom. When it comes to fission, what is happening is whenever there is a neutron that is going to coincide with an atom, there will be splitting. And this splitting is known as what? Fission. Right? Now, the point is, what is the status of nuclear energy in the case of India? So, India is considered to be the fifth largest source of electricity, and this electricity is coming from where? Through nuclear energy. Now, if you have a little bit idea of the Kakrapar atomic power project, now this is again one of the big projects of nuclear energy. Other than this, we are having the unit of NPCIA, that is your Nuclear Power Corporation India Limited. So this is also working for the India's nuclear program. This is along with this, India is also working on some of the indigenous plants with respect to what nuclear energy. For example, Kamini. Now this plant exists in where? Kalpakka. Right. So this was about India's status on nuclear energy. Now let's move on to the next article. Uh, the next article that I will cover is regarding your pooled procurement. Now, what is that? So, pooled procurement. What is pooled procurement? Fine. Now, if you see, what is happening is that just a minute. Okay. What is the need or what is the requirement of having pooled procurement, or what is the cause behind having it? So, yes. So, what is the meaning, firstly, of pool procurement? So, it is, or the meaning of the pool procurement is that it is a kind of collective or purchase. Right? And this is with respect to what? See, this is a group purchasing where the strategy is in which multiple organizations, and this multiple organization includes both your public and private sector. They come together to do what? To purchase goods or services. Fine. Now, what is the reason behind talking about pool procurement? So, see, what happened was that there are multiple schemes that have been running across the world, and this is regarding how this is regarding pooled buyers. That means if we have these pooled buyers, we can actually go for procurement. Now, the point is, if we are having this procurement through the pooled buyers, what are the schemes that are going to benefit us? So, first is your central government health schemes. Second is your Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojna. And third is your employees state insurance schemes. Fine. Now, if I go with India's healthcare system, so what is the issue behind the India's healthcare system, and why do I'm thinking about having this, or the person is thinking about having this pool procurement in case of healthcare. So, firstly, though, India's healthcare sector is having what? There's a kind of uniform legislation for all kind of services. So what is happening is that India has not adopted what this pooled procurement model with respect to what? With respect to the sectors of what? Medical equipments and drug purchasing. Now, what is happening altogether? Apart from this, whenever there is any kind of supply or any kind of procurement that is going to happen in the healthcare sector, it is happening individually. So there is a negotiation with the suppliers having what a negotiation with the suppliers being done being done individually. So what is happening is now when the procurement is happening, or when the negotiations is happening with the suppliers, individually. So there is, a very high chance of corruption taking place, frauds, and in some cases the nepotism. So what is good that is going to happen with pool procurement is that this will help in evaluating the procurement performance, the outcome of the project, and how it is going to impact the healthcare sector. Right? Okay, so since I told you that this pool procurement is not applied to the Indians or the government's healthcare sector, so government is not applying it. So the point is that isn't the government aware of this kind of method? What is the cause that why government has not applied this pool procurement method in the healthcare sector? The point is that central government is it is not that the central government is not aware of the benefits of this pool procurement and price discovery. But the point is that when they ask for contracts or when they ask for the tenders, the lowest price is not obtained. And probably this is the reason why they did went for pool procurement. Now the point is that if India is going for pool procurement, how effective it is going for, how effective is it going to be for the India and the Indian health sector? So firstly, if pool procurement is going to come, this strategy is going to be very costly. Why? Because here you will having what bulk of negotiators, a bulk of people you are going to negotiate with, and this shall be with respect to pharmaceuticals and medical supplies. Right? And when there is a lot of cost saving, what is going to happen is that if you or the government is able to match up the cost, or if they are able to save a lot, what is going to happen? The service is being provided to the patient at a very pocket friendly budget. So the service that is going to be provided to the patient will be pocket friendly. Other than that, the cost saving will help you in resource utilizations also. Why? Because there will be less of wastage. Now, when there will be less of wastage, what is going to happen? When there is less of wastage, there is going to be more of efficiency. And since there will be multiple negotiators and traders over here, so you will have immense availability of medicines. And when this is there, this shall provide what? Stable supply of medical supplements. So with this, what is going to happen? There will be, no shortage of essential drugs. residential drugs, so you shall get most of the residential drugs at lower cost. And this shall lead to what? Good healthcare organization. And when there is good healthcare and organization, what is there? Quality assurance is absolutely quality assurance. And this quality assurance is possible how? When the drugs regulator are providing you quality drugs, quality and effective medication on this side. Fine. Um, Apart from this, we have got this PLIs, that is your production linked incentives. This shall bring what? Boost to your pharma industries. And when there's a boost to pharma industry, so definitely conditions are going to get improved in healthcare services. So improved conditions with healthcare services. Fine. So this was about pooled procurement. I have covered three articles today in detail. One is your pooled procurement, one is your nuclear energy, and another one your Israeli commerce issue. Uh, I think I was very much clear to you. So I shall see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.